I mean,
Don't cancel me podcast. So we're asking, regardless of what we say.
Regardless of what you hear, please allow us, innit?
Yeah.
We're just talking the
members of the
truth. We're
community.
living our truths. So don't cancel us, innit?
still running, so fuck it. Man, flames, man. No, leave it in there.
To license it.
It's happy.
It's been another exciting week still, I can't lie, man. We're 3 episodes in now.
We're professionals.
Hey, we
Nah,
are official podcasters now.
Now, the feedback has been amazing, though. The feedback's been proper good.
I think,
Like-
pulling out the visuals, definitely people got to see our reaction on camera to things that we say. I think that's a good look, man. Definitely.
Definitely a good look, man. But just got to keep it going, innit?
Let's go, man. That's what it's all about. Consistency, good content, and yeah, man, dope topics.
100%, man.
Very
So
much
you've
so.
got to say,
Make sure everyone, you go onto the YouTube. You make sure you comment, subscribe.
Yeah,
on
man.
Apple Podcast. No, is it Apple Podcast
We're
now?
on Apple Podcast now,
Apple
so
Podcast,
subscribe,
Spotify.
leave us a rating, leave us a review on Apple.
Definitely leave us the reviews, man. I think positive and negative, man. I think. take
Yeah,
them
man.
in,
All feedback is wanted, man.
Of course,
all
man.
feedback is wanted.
As long as it's constructive, innit? We don't
Apart
want no
from this
haters.
one the one guy that sent us a 6-page letter about all the things we were
Was
doing
it
wrong.
6 or 4? He was moving like a Leo, bruv.
Blood.
The
This
worst
guy.
thing is, I don't know where it came from, man.
But the thing is, he was commenting on the stuff that wasn't even accurate.
He said we left our baby mothers.
we saying we're having
Watch
kids
you.
out here and leaving kids.
And you know what threw me off? Everything else was calm. I was like, oh, whatever. When he said, man, them HIV is real, I said, did we say something that I
Bro.
missed out?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Like I said to him, brother, I don't know. I don't think you need to listen again, but may Jah continue to bless you.
And then he continued. But that wasn't enough.
How many times did you send him jar blessings,
Bro,
fam?
like 4 or 5 times.
Did you give him
May
the...
Jah continue to bless you. But I
Well,
should
the
have.
man has a
If there was
respect.
an emoji for that, I would have given the little rasta fuck. No,
Manners and respect.
manners and respect, you know.
Yeah, but that one was mad. But other than that, everything's been very, very positive. Very, very positive.
It's been
So,
good, man.
guys, what we saying? What we diving into this week? What
This
kind of
week.
what kind of madness are we trying to stir in this week?
This week is going to be, lads,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're going to be talking about cultural differences. Yeah? Now, cultural differences in relationships, raising kids, and even in friendships. Do they matter? And what effects do they have?
I think this should work out because I'm the one Ghanaian.
You're the only African in here
Yeah,
right now,
I'm
aren't you?
African in here. Yo, big up Ghana.
Oh yeah, Ghana independence.
Ghana
today.
independence. But you know, before we dive into that topic, I just want to do one thing though. Last week Saturday, my good friend Anika lost her brother due to knife crime, and just
Rest
want
in
to send a
peace.
condolence out to the family.
Of course, of course.
You know, we kind of have to find a way to stop this. What's going on? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
man, it's just-
we just want to send a special condolence out to the family. We're thinking of them, and you know, any little thing that as a community we can do to support them in this time of need, because he was our son, a brother, an uncle, nephew, but more importantly, a father that's been taken away. So we just want to send our condolences out to that family, and like I said, as a community, any little thing that we can do to come together just to show some support towards them. We should
of
definitely
course,
do
of
that,
course.
man.
Yeah, man, yeah, man.
No, it's a sad time.
Thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to the family. man.
Most definitely.
Yeah, man.
But guys,
That's a bit mad. Like, it feels mad to go
Yeah,
into something.
like
It is.
something so serious. Then
it
it
feels
is,
mad.
but
But
I thought
it's part of life. At the end of the day, it is part of life. It's an unfortunate part of the life that a lot of us are around. Not even
Yeah.
saying part of, but the areas we live in is
Of
commonplace.
course. And obviously, we got a platform, and sometimes we got to use the platform to spread also a positive message outside what we're talking about. And I
Yeah,
thought, let me just use this time and space just to put that out there, man.
yeah,
you
man,
get
that's
me?
big, man.
You know, so we're thinking of them. Neek's thinking of you, man, and to the whole family. So bless you all. But as back to what you were saying.
This
You
feels
know.
so wrong. I don't know why. But yeah, cultural differences.
Culture. So we're gonna jump into cultural differences, yeah?
Yeah, so cultural
Alright,
differences. So in regards to relationships, do you lot feel that cultural differences make a difference in your relationship?
You know what? This is going to be a hard question for me to answer because I'm thinking about it now. I don't think I've had an actual relationship with
anyone
someone
outside your culture.
outside of my culture. Like,
Neither have I, but I think you might have to imagine it.
imagining it,
Do you think it would cause a problem?
I'm sure there will be little things, like, because I'm sure every culture has their different customs, different ways, different morals, different values. So I'm sure something might come up. It may not cause a big issue, but it might be something that we need to sit down and discuss and come to some sort of compromise about. You know what I mean? But
I think in a relationship, I don't think it will cause major, simply because a lot of the people that we're around, they're from a similar area to us. So we grew up around each other.
yeah,
I think it more comes into play when it comes to creating a family. I think that's
Yeah.
where the cultural divide would.
I think when kids come into it,
Yeah, that's when it
And
becomes
then-
an issue.
coming to terms on raising a child, Prems, you will be perfect for this one.
Now, I'm gonna put the disclaimer out there.
Yeah, please put the disclaimer out there.
Let me
We're asking you
hold on. Let me dive
on
into
a
this.
general
I'm
term.
gonna dive into this and try not
Don't
to.
get too personal with it.
I'm gonna try and answer this by not offending no one in this answer. I'm gonna keep it real. All right, let me break it down. I'm gonna break it down from my perspective. Being a Ghanaian, growing up in Northwest London, growing up there was not a lot of Ghanaians. So there was about 3-4 of us that I knew about. I grew up predominantly around West Indians.
Can I stop there?
Mm-hmm.
There probably was more Ghanaians around, but back then
They were called Jermaine.
people were
No.
They tried to hide where they were really from.
All right, you know what? Okay, whatever. But I went one. But I'll tell you what it was. The kids that were Ghanaian that grew up in the area, they were good kids. Me and my older brother at the time before my little brother were born, we weren't bad, but we was rebellious. So we floated towards hanging around with our West Indian friends. And
Wait, pause.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say that you floated towards hanging around the West Indians because we were bad?
No. Hold on. But let me finish. Let me land. Can I land? I'm in Gatwick. I'm trying to land.
Go on.
Land.
We just, cause you gotta look at it like this. In school, you're around the culture. Do you understand? And we was around our West Indian friends. Not to say they were bad, but we gravitated towards their culture. Don't give me that look. We was at their houses all the time. Do you know what I mean? We gravitated towards a culture. Obviously, we had our own culture at home, but when you're around your friends, you start to develop the behaviors of your bedroom. Do you know what I like? You're cool and all of that. So growing up, I was more into the West Indian culture than I was into my own, because I was around my friends. My best friends were Canadian. Some of my good friends were Jamaican. I was in their house. I always at their family party. So I gravitated to that when I was growing up. So obviously I still understood my culture and everything. I knew I was Ghanaian, I knew I was African. I could speak Tree and all of those type of things. I love my African food. But just around my peers, I wanted to fit in culturally as well.
Were you embarrassed?
Never embarrassed, because when they came, my mum and dad, my mum's got a hard back African accent. My dad's got, but when you came to my house, you gravitated towards my house and the culture in my house. So the respect was always there. You know, you came to my house, you didn't come, you called my mum, auntie, vice versa. When I went to their houses, mum, auntie, that was the respect we all had growing up. So when it came to dating, I found it easy to date girls from a different culture from mine because I understood their culture. What I found very difficult was when I had my child, because my mum had a certain way of upbringing and wanted me to implement that into my daughter, the African way. And obviously there was a West Indian way of upbringing. Not to say there was any different, but I found culture clashes in the way of upbringing. My mum wanted to do it. My mum wanted me to do it the way she raised us. I found from the other side, they wanted to do it a certain way. So if I said certain things, it would be like, well, no, it was done that way. But I'd be like, no, because I thought the way my mum done it was the right way. You're thinking the way your mum done it's the right way, but there's no
Compromise.
Yeah, there's no compromise. So I found that that's when the cultural clash came in. So what we decided to do was we had to take a back seat and start adapting. I had to understand her culture a little bit more, and she had to understand mine a little bit more to understand where we could compromise and it would work. It does pay a major difference. Also, coming from an African home, and again, not to disrespect or like throw shade on anyone, coming from an African home, hold on. My dad was the worker, my mum was in control of the house. if that makes sense. My mum was in control of the house and the kids. Do you know, my dad, he went out, he hustled, even though my mum worked, but he, you know, did the shopping, put it in the house, or gave my mum the money to do the shopping, whatever. And my mum was responsible for putting the clothes on our back, making sure we had pocket money, X, Y, and Z. So I picked up that mentality of the way how my dad operated, and tried to have that in my household, but not realizing the person that I'm living with is on a 50-50 basis.
But do you think that's because of the African West Indian thing, or do you think that's because of the African British thing?
Not African British, because when you go back to Ghana, if you go to Ghana, that's still
No,
mentality.
I'm saying the divide, because what I'm trying to say to you is, all right, you grew up in a traditional African home. Both your parents came from Ghana.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say to you is, do you feel like you would have experienced that same divide, not because of the West Indian part of your girlfriend, but
The British side of it.
the fact that in England now it's about equality.
50-50.
Nah, because like, again,
Because
that same culture, you know, is in West Indian home.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because I've got friends that, you know, they live there, they're from a family, and that same culture is there. It's just that probably the way how my other half at the time grew up, it wasn't that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's where the culture clash came in. But like I said, what we decided to do was one day take a couple steps back and learn, okay, that works for you. It might not work for me, but I'm willing to compromise. This works for me. You know what I mean? We found ways to compromise. But in raising a child now, it wasn't hard, because we wanted my child to know the best of both worlds. You know, she's from St. Lucia. She's been there. She knows that's her heritage. She hasn't been to Ghana yet, but she understands she's Ghanaian. Like right now, the biggest mistake we did was, but I can say from a cultural background, was I didn't teach my daughter tree from early. So I'm trying to teach her now, and it's like, you know, she's grasping to it. But if that's something I taught her from early, there'll be a bit more understanding. Like today, she knew it was Ghana Independence Day.
Yeah.
Picked her up from school. She's like, yo, Dad, happy Independence Day. You know, so I think when it comes to the child itself, it's not that hard if you both have an understanding. But if we're two ignorant people, it ain't gonna work. And I've seen that. I've seen the ignorance where, you know, someone would just say, my child's African. Nah, your child's got West Indian heritage as well, man. Like, you know, make them understand, you know.
But then you're going to have the woke lot that say, we're all African.
We're all African
so it
in the end
doesn't
of the
matter.
day.
It's true. It's true. We are gonna have that, but look, we gotta get it to. We gotta have the understanding that, look, if my dad's African, my dad's from Ghana, Nigeria, wherever. If my mum's from the West Indies, whether it's St. Lucia, Jamaica, Barbados, we have to make the kids understand that. Now, when they get older, they will then determine how to say, well, I'm just African because West Indians are African. You allow that child to make that decision.
I don't think so. Me
I
personally,
think you should tell them that from early.
because
What, that they're African?
yeah,
That ultimately
I think that's our
we all
responsibility.
come from one place.
Yeah, we teach them that. I'm coming from the perspective of, if you've got the ignorant ones that just say, "No, I'm not African,"
Yeah.
because we come across that.
Yeah, we do. I think that was more our parents' generation.
Yeah.
That I can speak from West Indian.
Go on.
That from my parents' generation, you were told that you're Jamaican. That's where it is.
Yeah.
That's it. There was no, oh, but we really come from Africa. No, Africans are Africans. They're them. They're over there. It was a thing where they eat funny food. They smell funny. It was a whole.
It was
thing.
a madness growing up.
Yeah,
Still.
and I remember primary school. You see, if he was African,
He was a scoop.
problems.
it's mad.
He was an African boo scratcher.
Hey, listen.
And let me put it out there, yeah.
One of them.
Me,
One of them.
I was one of them. And I'm like,
But I used to
not even one of them that used to say that. People used to call me that, and I'm like, yo, I'm
know what?
Jamaican, you know.
First time, I'm not gonna lie, big man thing. Yeah, the
Yo.
first time I saw Jay, I was like, yo, is this brother Ghanaian?
But
Because
listen,
he's
Bro.
got Ghanaian. His name's now Jay also, you know.
I've been.
Get me?
listen.
I need
I'm
honorary
murdering
Ghanaian right
everyone.
now.
You see, primary school, you couldn't be African around me. You're mad. You're
You was
mad.
bully,
I'm
yeah?
peppered.
But you know the first time he came to my house, yeah, and we gave him jollof, man, scooped it with the hands like a real
Oh,
African.
you ate it with your hands?
No,
did.
I did.
He
He's
did.
lying.
He
No, I
did.
did. He's lying.
He did.
Listen,
Wow.
I know what I am in it. Don't
What-
get me
what
wrong.
are
I've
you?
educated myself. I understand that. Where's man's heritage come from and everything.
Yeah.
But as an ignorant child, because remember, my mum never taught me these things. My mum never taught me the truth of. Remember, you grew up, you heard slavery.
Yeah.
So growing up, and then you realize I got my brethren and they're African, but you're apprehensive because remember, you're taught you don't eat from people's house as well.
Of course, we taught that.
Worse.
Yeah.
You go into your African brethren's yard now, and you've been told all of these.
All this bush thing that they eat.
yeah, bush meat, and you don't know what it is. So when they get offered food, you're like,
It comes from a place of ignorance because, you know, you say that, Africans do it as well. Don't hang around that Jamaican boy. He's bad news. You know,
Jamaican boy. I wish it was Jamaican with them jammels. The
Yeah,
amount of
jammels,
times I've
yeah,
been
jammels,
called-
yeah,
I've been
yeah.
called a jammel.
Yeah,
And
you
I
get
said,
that. You
"Rah."
know, real talk.
You
Right.
right.
You real talk, and you like you paint a perspective, and it's like, yo, don't hang around that Jamaican boy is bad.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's
A
what
lot
you
of us
did.
live up to that stereotype.
This is
No,
the
but-
thing.
but
We
you
didn't
know,
help the stereotype at all.
But the thing was, it's like, you're messing with our minds when you do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's like, that's ignorance. That's your ignorance. That's why now I like the mixed blend. I like that the fact that we've come together and we're able to have kids with each other. Like, I can have a child with a West Indian woman, a West Indian woman can have a child with an African man. Like, I like the mix and blend, you know, because we're showing that we've moved past that ignorance. You still got some ignorant ones there that'll be like for instance, when I see man like man not rate them Afrobeat thing there, I'm like, rah, you still with that mindset. Like,
Do you know what it is?
it's music, but remember the other day when we was at that dance when we was working and Ye came on, Burna Boy. Now this is a pure
And a yardie dance.
yardie dance, and they were embracing the song, and I'm like, that shows how far our culture, when I say culture, all of us have come. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, you go to Ghana, they're playing vibes, you know. Free
Yeah,
Cartel.
but you know what it is? A lot of the songs now, you can't, unless you know the artist, that you know
You
who
can't
it is.
tell.
You can't tell
tell.
who, because you know what it
Listen.
is? Even the other day I was listening to, what was it? Kojo Funds has a tune with Red Cafe and
and
Young M.A.
yeah.
Yeah.
Blood, you see, if you didn't know,
You'd think he's Caribbean. But
Yeah.
he's what is he? He's half, isn't he?
half
He's something.
Grenadian, half Ghanaian.
but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you wouldn't,
can't tell. Yeah.
you wouldn't process it.
And
You got even certain WizKids tunes, I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, man,
And
sounds
you-
like he's a real young
And
man
if you
in
look
this.
how we embraced them both Caribbean and Africa, like I saw something about Popcorn saying, yo, I go to Ghana every year, man, and I chill out there for a period of time.
Probably
But that-
got a yard
but
there. as well,
Yeah,
something.
you
the
know,
thing is, that's what we're meant to do. If you really think about it, we're meant to embrace each other. We grew
100%.
up in an area where we all grew together.
yeah,
Right.
So why would we have this divide?
we shouldn't.
But with the parenting divide,
Yeah.
I can only but imagine, because I don't have it personally. I don't have that divide. But I can only imagine what issues that would cause in regards to discipline, in regards to even like festive seasons.
I don't think discipline was really that much because
Like-
we all got battered still.
Just
like,
to jump away from the kids bit of it, like when you obviously started dating your Caribbean girl at the time, how was it like when she brought you to her family, like to introduce you to her to her family?
pass on that question.
Was it that bad?
Um,
Okay, you know what? I'm not even trying to
Oh,
trick.
all right, let's flip it then.
I'm not trying to trick
How
you
was
today.
it when you introduced her to your family? Did they like? Was it a bit like?
actually, no, I'll answer that question. I got a warm reception from the family. Different, but it was a warm reception. They had to grow to me. They had to understand where I was, and I think it's not until they met my family that they proper talking to me properly, because they saw the way that my mum and dad had raised man and everything like that. And
Do
they
you think
just
that's
they
because you're African though?
huh?
Or do you think that was because you're African or just you as a person?
Do you know what it is? I'm not even gonna say out of ignorance. Is if you don't have any sort of interaction with Africans, you don't know, and it's vice versa. We don't have any interaction with West Indies. How do we know them? Do you understand what I'm saying?
We grew
So
up together though.
huh?
We all grew up.
As in the
together.
parents.
We
As
did,
in the
but I mean,
parents,
is
you
it with the parents? Remember? Okay, so
Okay, fair enough.
where we grew up, you had interactions with people that you knew. But when it's coming into a family basis,
Yeah, of course. you're
it's
not
very
gonna know.
different. So until the families interacted,
Yeah.
that is when they were able to suss each other out. I think the difference I can only speak for my mum and dad is the sectors that they were in, they worked with a lot of West Indians, so they were able to embrace her. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, my mum took her in as a daughter, because my mum never had a daughter. So my mum was just like, okay, I'm going to bring you as my daughter. And my dad's thing was, whatever makes my son happy, I'm happy. And they embraced her straight away. Vice versa, I was embraced by a lot of the family members. in the beginning, but I just think they wanted to see a bit more of my background to understand who I really was. And when I was able to show them, like, my brothers, you know, they met my dad for the first time and how polite my dad was, they was like, oh, he's kind of like his dad. They warmed up to me a bit more, you know. But I've been around friends that, you know, same situation, and it's mad. Both set of families have shut them out.
Serious?
Shut them out. Like,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
are they both black, or was it like
Black,
a different
both black.
culture?
one Nigerian, one Jamaican. Obviously, you know, there's a stereotype between both of them. The Nigerian family
They're
were
so similar as well.
They-
Nigerians
yeah.
and Jamaicans are so similar.
They weren't really. I remember when I went to the house that day, because I went and I was just like, I had to speak to my boy's mum and like, yo, like, auntie, man, come on, man, like, that's not how it is. And she's like, I would prefer if he brought a Nigerian girl home. And you know what hurt me about that? She said, even if it was a white girl, I wouldn't mind. And I was like, whoa,
Ooh.
like,
Serious?
yeah. And I was like, auntie, man, you got to look past it. But you know what it is? That was then. When you look at it now, bruv, auntie loves her daughter-in-law. But you know what it is? It's the ignorance. And like you said, our parents' generation, the ignorance there. So,
Yeah, because they not to say they're fully uneducated, like they can't read and write, but they are uneducated to the ways of the world,
yeah.
to a certain degree.
They're very ignorant to certain things,
Yes,
isn't it?
hence why they didn't pass it down to us.
Yeah.
But it's our job. That's why I was saying, for me, I tell my kids now, my eldest is 11, I told them now, number one, like you say them run little jokes between each other. I told them, listen, we're all from Africa, but daddy, no, because grandma's from, I said, yeah. And then I have to go back into it. But it's a lot for their brain to take in right now. Even they'll make jokes because of the difference in their skin tone. So I'll be like, so you're black and he's not, no? Well, but you all came from me, so where you going with this?
Yeah,
It's mad because kids don't grasp the skin. Because like even my son, he's like, there was a period where he was just like, you're black. And he's like, no, I'm not black. I'm brown. I'm like,
You know,
no, you're black. Like, I know technically you're brown, but you're black.
that's the same.
Because remember, one of my sons is very, very light.
Yeah.
He almost looks mixed race.
But that's the same with my daughter, because like if you see my mum's light, and then you see me, my brothers and my dad, we're dark. So my daughter one day goes, why are you lot so dark and I'm light? Me and Nanny are light. And you know, I just stood there and I was like, I can't even answer the question, but I just like, look, do you know it's genetics?
Did you really try to drop genetics to her?
Yeah, it's genetics. I said it's genetics, and I said that's why you've got like your mum's features, your mum's skin tone, but your dad's nose and eyes and them thing there. Because you know, if you see my family, the nose is just.
Nah, it's your nose. It's your personal nose.
Your nose.
She's got my nose.
Don't try to bring everyone
Your
else
brother's
into
nose
this.
is not.
Not Nick, but Terrence though. The younger one looks exactly like me, but he's a carbon copy.
Your nose is
Right,
the
man.
next thing by
So
itself.
now you look attracting attention to my nose.
Yeah, you know, bare people zooming in. My nose, like.
I grew into it. It was bad back in the day. You get me? Man, I had the
Usher nose, you know?
Yo,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle nose.
I'm hiding behind the mic right now, you know. Nah, but flames, man. Nah, no, leave it in there.
To license it.